pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. What happened yesterday?
That's not just like,
No, it's just horrible. Alright, so you've got the agenda in front of you. Are there any to the agenda? If not, then I would need a motion to accept.
I'll make that motion.
can we look at it first? Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I just sent out a few days ago, so.
So you're done with the agenda? Okay, so is there a second to the,
I'll
second
second
the
that.
agenda? Yeah. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Petitions from the public, Dave?
Yes. You know, for the last year and a half, I've been kind of critical of this board for the actions of the past, but I've also kind of called upon you to take action to do something different in the future. You know, a lot's been done on the south end of town to promote business, and absolutely nothing has been done on the north side of town, with the exception of a little grant here and there. A parking lot right up here on village property would do a great deal towards bringing traffic back down to that end of town. All the events at the high school, they fill up 5th Street, they fill up 6th Street, they park in front of my house and in Morrison School. The way this traffic has been set up on 6th Street has increased businesses on 6th Street and on the north side of town, on the south side of town, it has done nothing for the south side of town. You basically diverted all the traffic to one side of town and done nothing for the south side of town, which is in terrible decay. You know, Leah had brought up the idea of a parking lot there. I wasn't aware that we had that property at that time. I think it's a great idea, but you guys don't take it any further. You don't discuss it. You don't bring it up. We need to do something for this end of town. These guys are doing great. This side of town has no attention. That right there is a petition for legislation to disband the DDA. There is a ton of support within the village to do that. I'm hoping that you guys can change this and start taking actions where there won't be support. When I talk to people, I can fill that petition in a few days. I don't have an intention of circulating right now, but that draft is ready for approval by an attorney, and it will be circulated if action does not take place on this board.
Thank you. All right, minutes. Any questions on minutes?
Maybe this was here, so I.
No, we did that as agenda.
Oh, I was looking at the minutes instead of the agenda, that's why I was wondering.
They're all sent out several days ago.
But sometimes it can change, because I see it change sometimes between the.
All right, is there a motion to accept the minutes if there are no changes? All right, is there a second?
I'll second.
I wasn't here, so I don't want to.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next item is election of a chair and actually a vice chair. Leah, are you willing to serve
Yeah.
as chair?
I am, but I do want to, I do have a couple things that I would like to let everyone here know about me taking that position, make sure everybody's comfortable with that. I guess the first thing is I am the executive director at Main Street, and in the past, this board has contributed significant financially, funding to Main Street, and I would be asking for that again. That's how our program, the Main Street program, does stay afloat, is not, we don't get tax increment funding. We are typically funded by memberships and then through support from our local government groups like the DDA, the Calumet Township DDA, because we do some of the work that this organization would typically do, such as hosting events and doing promotional things like the brochures, and we do, our radio spot every week. We spend a lot of money on that. Anyway, so this group would have to be comfortable with, if you feel like that's a conflict of interest, then by all means, you don't want me to be the chair of this group, that's fine. The second point that I have is, I think as a DDA, we do, and this goes to show, but people in our community don't know what our DDA does, don't know what a DDA is supposed to do, and I think that our group, our DDA, and I'd like our council to take part as well, is maybe have a little training about what a DDA is, what a DDA does, and so we can refocus ourselves about, are we achieving what our mission is supposed to be, and what do we need to do to make that happen, to make that happen and to make our public aware that, hey, we are doing things that need to happen, and we are following, we're trying to achieve a mission. This is the mission of a DDA, this is what we're supposed to be doing, and we're doing it. So, and also along with that, about understanding what a DDA is, does, a lot of Main Street programs are DDA programs. It's the same thing. If you go on somebody's website, it'll say DDA/Main Street.
Marquette, I think.
They're all over the country and all over the state. And actually, 2 weekends, the 25th anniversary of the National Park was 2 weekends ago. Yeah. And I was here and I ran into a Main Street executive director from a program just like that. Their DDA Main Street are one. He was here, he's a former tech grad, and he runs the program in Three Rivers, Michigan. So it's very interesting to talk to him. And we discussed about, they have a lot of similar issues, which was good to hear in a way that, oh yeah, this is all over the state. We all have, similar problems, but somebody good to network with. And, he said he would be willing to try and maybe help this group if we wanted to try and bring our DDA and our Main Street program together. He's married to a woman who is employed in the Michigan Main Street program. She's right under the Laura Curzon. So that's another contact for us to have in the Main Street program. And Main Street would probably come and do a presentation here for us and maybe the council if we were interested. We would have to say that we are interested in doing that. And it would be, I think, bringing the Main Street program and DDA together is something we should at least investigate. Maybe we say ultimately no, that's not what we want to do, but I think we should investigate that because it does really, there's plans out there for how you do things. That's one plan of how you can do things. I don't know if it's ultimately something we would be able to do in Calumet to be an accredited Main Street program. You do have to have a full-time paid director. And now our Main Street program isn't accredited. To become accredited, there's a whole process that we would go through as a community. And part of that process is a 5-year commitment for funding for the group. So I don't know if we'd be able to achieve that or not, but I think it would give us, if nothing else, it would give us some ideas. And another good thing about becoming an accredited program would be when we do these grant applications, like when the village had a grant application for this Elm Street project out here, they lost points on that application, 10 points, because you're not an accredited Main Street program.
Or did we have a master plan in place either?
Right.
No, that wasn't. It was the RRC part of it.
Mhm.
Those were the
So
two
why don't we
options.
apply for stuff if we don't have all your ducks in a row?
Well, because you never know.
Yeah, but I mean, what are your odds? Like,
You know, you never know.
You know, the thing is, you shouldn't, it's good practice.
Yeah.
I mean, but you really do, you should be.
Well, the thing is we'll have our RRC
We are
certification
moving
in
towards
place,
that, trying.
and for Main Street, and I should let you finish, but I mean, there is that question about associate status too, which I don't think requires a full-time.
Well, you know, it's definitely a more in-depth conversation that needs to be had. This woman's name is Laura Krizov, and she runs the Michigan Main Street program. She's who we would be working with. But I asked her that question specifically
Yeah.
when we had a phone conversation a couple months ago now, and she said, no, that's incorrect. You do, but now, which level program? Maybe she was referring, because they do have, you know, you're a master's level, you're an associate level, and I have some confusion about which is what level program, you know. But she said, oh no, you do still have to have, you know, you have to be accredited at a certain time.
I just want to point out, I've been in Main Street, with Main Street program since its very first inception. I went down to Lansing, and a group of us lobbied to get Calumet to be a Main Street community, and we were successful. We were accredited for
Many years.
many years.
I'd say
Yeah.
10, well, it was
I
probably
think
10
it's
years.
more than
that
10,
we were,
yeah.
that we were
It's more than
accredited,
10.
and we were one of the very few Main Street programs in the state that were accredited.
Could hold on to it.
Also, we, like speaking to what Leah said before, we were one of, I don't know, maybe 3 communities that are not part of their DDA. So, you know, it's really
rare.
more, it's rare that it isn't part of the DDA, not the other way around. I think Marquette has a very robust, you know, Main Street program, and it's part of their DDA. They have a full-time paid Main Street person that, I don't know if it's Main Street, but they have paid DDA members that do things, you know, and that's why they have.
How would it work, where Calumet basically has 2 DDAs though? Where the township has one in the village?
Yeah,
How
but
would
that's, the township has their money, and the village has theirs. I mean,
Well,
that's not.
And-
Well, but you deal with both, so.
Well, I think that's something that have to be addressed, because the Main Street boundary is within the township.
That's what I'm saying.
And so, right, if how would you fund a director to cover that area? Then is Calumet paying for a township, you know?
Yeah.
We would probably have to adjust our boundary, is my guess.
Or get them on board.
In the past-
Or get them to
You
pay
could
too, which
Well,
would be the
absolutely.
way that you fund
It
it.
should be that way.
In the
And that might
past,
be great.
in the past, the township DDA has provided
Oh, yeah, they
funds
have
to
provided
to Main Street.
It sounds like if it was all one, there would be all these like fractured stuff, you know?
Well, I think sometimes people, you know, I hear, they don't even, well, what does Main Street do? We have a DDA, what's a DDA? What does that do? And we don't want people having that question.
So, just not to get too nosy, but you're the director of the Main Street, okay? And is this
Yeah.
a paid position?
Yeah, I made $3,000 last year.
Okay, well, that was my question, so it's sort of a kind of, sort
Right
of
now, I'm basically a
Full-time?
I'm,
volunteer slash.
our agreement, my agreement with the Main Street Board
Mhm.
was to be a part-time director.
Down to halftime.
Right, and how many hours? I think I donated 800 hours last year, 880 hours or something. So I do get paid. And I mean, if we move forward and we, you know, say, hey, okay, we can afford to pay a full-time executive director, I don't necessarily know that I could take that position. I mean, I would really like to, that'd be great, but I have a little one at home, my husband works in Alaska, and we are hoping to, you know, have another baby. So then, I don't really know how that would work, but I'm not focused on that, whether I'm the director or not, just that I think that that's the way that we should go, whether I get that position or somebody else. I can honestly say that I think that would be beneficial for our community, but that's kind of, I would imagine if we decided we're gonna come together, we're gonna join Main Street and the DDA, I don't think that's gonna be a 3-month process. You know what I mean? I think it would be a year by the time you do that. And it sounds like the application process now to become a Main Street is, when I talked to Laura, like a year, if you're really on the ball with it. And apparently that's what they did in Sault Ste. Marie, but it's not oh, we're on Main Street now. That's not how it's gonna be anyway. So I think there would be time to see how things would work out. You're gonna have to hire somebody and all that stuff. But anyway, so that's kind of the baggage I come with as if to be the chairperson. And I want that all right in the front to start with. Because
Is it a conflict though? You know, you obviously couldn't vote probably.
well, certainly no, I can't vote on
But you could
any
maybe not even discuss if that would be a conflict of interest. I don't know.
If she were to be an employee of the DDA, then we have an issue, and similarly, if we were to fund
There's a big
Main
issue.
Street, then, you'd
I
probably
can't be in the room, yeah.
You don't want to mess that up, but it would be awesome to have you as chair.
Well, you can give information, but you can't vote
Right,
on
no,
certain
no.
items, that's
Yeah,
all.
but there's-
And I certainly wouldn't vote on funding Main
Right.
Street program.
I mean,
No.
there's a conflict, but we just need to be aware of the board.
Right, and yeah, I'll step up.
So was never voted.
Right.
Yeah, Tom was,
Right, he was executive director.
Mhm.
yeah, right. And that's all we have to do is those issues where it may be a conflict, you just abstain from voting on those issues.
Yeah.
This is a small town.
Yeah.
And we still gotta do it right so we don't get called on it. That's the
I
thing.
agree.
That gets tiring.
And there's a lot of duplication of effort in many ways.
Yeah, we
where
have to live that.
You know, I help out with the design committee, it's many volunteer jobs.
There's the opposite word, volunteer. She was a volunteer person because you know nothing.
Right.
You know nothing, you do volunteer.
All right, so having heard from Leah, I have been serving as vice chair. No one is is anybody willing to serve as vice chair? Okay, I would be willing to serve as vice chair again. So then is there a motion to appoint Leah as chair of the GDA and myself as vice chair?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion, if there's no more discussion.
Okay, well, we can have discussion even after a second, so, but is there further discussion? All right, if not, all in favor?
Fine.
All right.
Any opposed? Okay. All right, I will be honest, I have not finished the facade grants, so I will have those available probably next week.
I do have a question on this. So we have, the application has been approved with some amendments according to the minutes. But the actual grant, because we had some outstanding, right?
Right. And again, I think, and I know you're going to disagree with me. I think that people who apply for grants should not be penalized because we did not have the application.
No, I
But okay, and and I'll be honest, what I was thinking is we set the amount of the grants at the end of the calendar year for the DDA. So I would almost say, let's hold off for the remainder of this year, put the ad in the paper in January. For those grants that we've had, we would allow them to apply
In
next year.
January.
Yeah.
You see, the problem that we've done is this board is, and I don't know what happened, but they didn't post it. You have to legally post it here and in the paper.
Well, that's what we have said.
Right.
It's not, yeah.
Right, and then
It's
there's,
not a
then
state
there's,
law.
well, it's our rule though. You gotta follow your own rules. You can't just throw them out the window. And then our rules also say that, certain things like you have to have like all your paperwork in order before you start. You have to do all these things, and it's been a problem, a big problem, and we gotta start doing it right.
Right, and that's why, again,
So-
once we get this in place,
So the people who've applied right now
be eligible.
in January.
Yes.
Yes.
So
So
if
if they double money then, like next year?
Yes, no, they would,
Double.
yeah.
Because you have to have it by February 1st, as soon as you get your money, so there would be 20,000 as
So-
opposed to 10.
If we are going to if we are going to turn those people down right now until January, I think we need to let them, I don't know what, I didn't read the amended application, I haven't seen that, but if we don't spell out a notification, I think we just need to let those people know, because I've heard from them
Who is
personally.
applied?
Well, it's Amy at Calumet Floral, and then Nate and Val.
They've been asking me, what's the DDA, are you going to vote on that or what?
Okay, well, here's the problem, you know, like,
Well, if we know that they're not gonna get anything until January,
Right.
we won't consider them until then, we need to just tell them.
but there's bigger
sorry, we're
problems
not.
than that, Leo. Like, one of them, for instance, if we're talking the coffee shop, they did all the work first before they even applied. Okay, and according to the rules, you can't do that. You gotta
So
get it.
there's exceptions in.
Well, we're not looking at it.
emergency repairs.
If you look at the pictures, though, that mold has been there for years.
I don't
I
know.
don't know.
And again, let's not, we don't have to argue that specific
It's a
application at
guideline,
this
but
point.
it's not.
But you gotta do the applications right. This
Yeah, let's
is
get the
why I'm sitting on
applications
the
first.
DDA,
yeah.
because you have to do them right. It's
Well, whatever our rules are, we have to follow them.
right.
And I also think if there's exceptions in there for that kind of situation, that's why you have an exception, isn't it?
Yes.
Is that, if that's what you write into the application, then that's.
There wasn't anything like that in the application. If we're gonna go by the rules, there's nothing in there. It clearly says you have to have, the HDC has to clear it first,
Yeah.
which one of the applications did not, you know.
HPC isn't even.
Well, it was before, it just recently broke up, okay? It says you have to, you know, bring all your information in and you can't start the work until you've been given, you know, the okay by all these steps. And none of these things have been followed for a long period of time. And, you know, it's gonna become, like, I'm not against an emergency thing, I'm not. It's just that, it's just crazy the way this has been working,
An
okay?
emergency, you know, do you wait until the notification for it to be considered an emergency? What would be your definition of an emergency?
Okay, well-
The roof actually caves.
Okay, what you need to do, Lori, is, you know, this person bought the building, put a roof on it, fixed the inside, did all those things, okay? How long did they own the building before they decided it was an emergency?
And that's something.
If that's
It
even
was
applicable
like-
in that particular.
I don't know, I just want these applications to be done right, so, you know, this
You know, we
board
can
doesn't
ask,
get-
we can ask them in when we get the application.
So I think-
And-
But we would review each one individually.
Yes.
And that's where I think our key to understanding this would have to be.
Right, so right now, I think we need to let those
Let
applicants
those people
know
know.
that they are
Well, of
gonna
course,
be
yeah.
reapplying in January. That's all I'm saying, is tell these people that they don't have money coming this week. Because
Yeah.
I know Calumet Coffee Works is in the middle of a major remodel, and you know that's not cheap. And I'm sure everybody else, you know, it's the end of the season, they wanna know if they're gonna get,
Mhm.
just tell them, no.
Well, you know.
They
to be
might not
honest-
like it, but whatever, tell them.
Yeah, well, the problem is, you know, you have to, you know, like you say, nobody knows what happens with this board, okay? If you're supposed to every year post it and say, this is what's available, everybody should do that.
Yeah.
We haven't done it.
Okay,
That's
so
what
we're doing
We
it.
haven't done it.
Moving forward,
And
let's
I'm
do
gonna
it.
say one thing too. Okay, there's a lot of people that, you know, they might come into town in the middle of the year. It's been posted, they have no clue what's been posted.
Did
They
we post anything?
Huh?
Did we
No, no,
post
no,
anything?
and
I know,
we're not
but-
arguing that.
You know, I'm
We
just gonna
agree
say,
with that.
One day in the newspaper.
one day the newspaper is not gonna do it. There's people that are putting up signs in town that haven't come to the village.
Yeah, that's
You know,
not-
there's all kinds of stuff that's going on.
Well,
You know,
whose responsibility it is to go out there and say, okay, you put up a sign and you should have, you know, checked with the HDC first. Who does that? There's like this
There's
disconnect.
not,
There's
there's a zoning ordinance within the village, the actual.
Well,
I understand
they
that.
should do it, but they don't
Okay, well,
know.
who's responsible? That's my question.
Well, no.
You, really, Virginia, I realize that we should post some things, but if you purchase a building, rent a building, I was told to begin with that I need to come here and check how I need to proceed.
Which is
And-
generally.
And I would think that that's the logical point of view instead of just doing my own thing, just checking. And then I found out there's a mathematical equation to a window sign for the size of the building itself.
right, there's multiple things. Number one, we need a website.
Yes.
And that's
I mean,
fine.
every day in our village
That is-
website. And that's,
That,
I meet with her a
The
lot.
first-
that's,
It's
that's
going,
where,
but-
yeah, and that's where people look. I mean, that's where that
True.
information is.
True.
You know, Main Street can post things on their
I do.
website, that's another thing. You know, we should talk to realtors and tell, you know, realtors should be aware, you know, that there is an HDC, that there is a DDA. You know, and I don't know how, maybe we just send out a mailing to all the realtors in Oakland County. You know, when you are marketing buildings in the Calumet commercial district. I agree. I mean, it's people should know beforehand when they buy, and then even afterwards. So that's the question is, because I agree, putting an ad in the paper, half the people don't get the paper anyways.
Well, I understand that,
Yeah.
but if you're gonna have certain set of rules, somebody might come
Oh,
back
yeah.
and say, you didn't do anything
Right.
right,
Oh,
you just
yeah.
gave a mini bond to Joe Blow.
Yeah,
But
you
no,
have
we're-
applications,
So that's the problem, I don't have any
Yeah.
problem.
We will do that.
And I'll give you a good example of what I've heard so many complaints, and I'm like, it's sort of village's fault as well as the Luigi people. Those Luigi people put up those signs and they're not dark and they didn't go to everybody, okay? Well, great, they didn't do that, they should have. But is there anybody in this village like that reached out to the guy and said, okay, now you're a member of the downtown and before everybody saw him working?
Would you like it to be?
Well, I don't know, whose job is that? I mean, everybody, it's like, everything falls to the cracks and then there's complaining.
Here.
Oh, no,
Oh, but I understand that.
And again, I mean, it's, I mean, it should be like.
No, it should be like
No, it should be
that.
like the HDC, I mean, and.
It should
and
be the
again,
HDC,
yeah.
really.
And I suppose it's one of those, when somebody buys a building and we're aware of it, we should arrange to meet with them.
Mhm.
But the sign ordinance was in place before the
Yes, does it say
HDC.
the
That's
sign?
true.
But how do you know about it?
Huh?
How does this guy supposed to know if A, he just goes and does it, and then the village just sits
Well,
on
I
it
would
and
say,
does nothing?
you know, like we said, when I opened a building in Lorien, opened a business, you know, as a business owner, if you have any common sense, you're opening something,
There you
you
go,
need,
bingo.
yeah,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
There's
yeah.
But, you know, I called Edward and went and said, okay, I want to put a sign on my building, are there any rules about that? Because you know,
Yeah,
Right. People are. gonna go
you
crazy.
know there are rules about that, come on. You're just hoping, if you do it, you're just hoping that nobody says anything, or that, whatever.
yeah.
Which comes to the who says something part of that. I mean, 2 points, what Dave said, we need to be meeting with people when they come in and hand them a
Bingo.
packet of, here's the rules.
Did we discuss this before? Like, yeah.
So that's very hard to actually do that. Do you know that there's some
But people
buildings that
do.
have been bought in town? Maybe you do, maybe you
No,
don't.
I don't.
Right, that's part of
We
our
don't know,
problem
right?
too.
We
We
don't
don't
know.
have any
We
idea
don't
what's
know.
going on.
We don't know what's going
Yeah,
on.
sometimes at least we won't have to pay Marriott money for the windows, right? Because that building's sold.
What?
Because there's still a grant out for that, right? When she's gotten them in.
Who's
The
married?
church.
Oh, no, she never applied for a grant.
Yeah, she did.
She did, and she
We
didn't-
approved it, but
She didn't do anything.
Yeah, those windows.
That
She
shit
doesn't
goes
know
on.
that anymore.
So then she sold it to shop.
gave it away.
She gave
Yeah.
it, Dr. Sears? Was it
Really?
Dr. Sears?
No, the lawyer.
Oh, lawyer.
Mhm.
The Sears on, Sears on something?
I don't know.
But
anyways.
anyway, wow.
Yeah.
You know, on the other hand, I'm just gonna say, this village is known to be mean to businesses that come in.
Yeah.
That is what the feeling is to
Yeah.
businesses, because they get, as soon as they want to open a business in Calumet, they get slapped with, you gotta go see the HCC, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. And that really creates a negative atmosphere for people coming into town. I am
Very
not
bad.
kidding you. And especially when, somebody puts up a sign, they should know. I mean,
They
if
should ask,
your
yeah.
common
You
sense
should-
says you should go
You
find.
should investigate.
But when they put up a sign, they open a business, somebody comes down and says that sign's wrong, it's gotta come down, whatever.
Well, and the other side of that is you can't have Jim Hughes put up an electronic sign on his building and nobody says a peep.
Oh, I'll give you a little information on that, okay? Jim Hughes shouldn't have put it up, I don't like it either, it's not historic, but Jim Hughes came to this village office right over here and said, can I put up this neon sign? And he was, okay, that's what he verbalized personally to me. He said he was told by our last administrator, go ahead and do it. Okay, I'm just saying,
I don't think
so
that's true.
that's him telling
I
me,
don't
I don't
think
know if
that's
it's true or not.
But again, we're hashing over
Yeah,
things that,
yeah.
but I do
Some people
not
are
believe that that
doing-
is true.
I don't know, you'd have to ask him again, but that's what he told me when people complain about signs.
But I do not
Don't
believe
know.
that is true. So anyways, we will have those grant and applications next month, so.
In the meantime, are we going to notify these folks?
Yes, I
And
will,
who,
I can ask Joe
I mean, who's,
to contact.
that's a question that I have, I guess, is as we move forward, like say next year, people are gonna apply for grants, How do we notify who, and how soon do we notify?
Okay, so that's all spelled out in.
It is, okay, great.
It's
Okay,
January.
the
And
application.
they would have to reapply, just like they didn't do anything, because there's gonna be a little bit.
But you'll
more.
see, you were
So
told
there's
here,
not-
yes,
yes,
okay.
yes.
My question is, they all applied under this other grant, why can't, I mean, the last rendition of it, why can't it go through like that? Because that was the one grant that was in place.
Okay, well, then what you have to do is you have to look at both cases and say, A, the DDA didn't do their due diligence by posting it. B, this guy, there's no, finished his job and then asked for money later. You have to make a decision. Once you start like going down that rabbit hole, everybody's gonna want you to make decisions on their stuff. And you gotta be careful with that. So do we want to, as a group, make big exceptions? And then do something different next year? I don't know.
I think what we're trying to do is be scrupulous
Yes,
and
and
make sure
I
there's
would
no
totally-
question of
I
fairness.
totally agree, but then all these people are ineligible anyway, right?
Well, okay, I'll give you an example. When the person from the coffee company came and filled out his application, it clearly says in all the rules that you can't apply for this grant and start it until, you have permission from the HDC and the DDA takes a look at it. The guy, I haven't seen it, but he must have filled it out. He could read. Do we just like not follow any rules because he calls it an emergency? I mean, what do we do?
Well,
you-
if,
I mean, what do we do?
Virginia, I've got a problem with these rules anyways, because what do you do in a case where the coffee roasters bought the building?
Did the insurance cover?
This
My
is
question.
their window of time to do it is right now.
Yes, right.
And our process, how do you deal with that? Because there's nothing wrong with him doing
And I don't
that.
have a problem with this, but if you're gonna have rules for
Well,
people,
that's-
you gotta either follow them or you have to make
Well-
you have to do something. Otherwise, you're gonna be looked upon like
Well,
you're
then
doing
maybe
special
this
cases.
group should form a committee and look at some of these things. Is there a way to do this? We don't have enough time in the hour to sit and do this here.
Right.
But if we formed a group that was interested in how could this be forged out?
Well, Dave and I did do
Right, we
it,
do
and then
have
it came
the-
back.
Okay.
And the,
Yeah,
and the.
and so again, next month, you'll have another chance to look at the
Okay.
application process, and if you want to make changes to it, I mean, that's your opportunity.
Well, that's an excellent idea. We could have something in there in the rules saying that if there's extraordinary circumstances, emergencies, we'll
Actually,
meet,
there
you know,
is- there
we
is
will
some-
meet.
Our committee
And
will
we
meet
can,
there.
yeah, we could do that.
There
but-
is a provision in there.
Sure.
along those
Well,
lines.
good.
We could do that, but
Because
Well, I
it is-
mean-
if somebody, this is what Lori is speaking to, when you come in this town, you wanna work on a building, and then we say, well, you can have $2,000 if you wait 3 months and don't fix your roof. I mean, that's not acceptable, they need to,
Yeah.
and there are inspections, they needed to fix that roof.
I understand that.
So,
But
we have to have it in the
You're
rules. We have
100%
to
right,
be-
but you want to follow stuff and then
Yeah.
people yell,
No,
because
we
you don't
need to
follow
put
it.
it, we
Well,
need
we
to make
need-
the rules,
It has
we
to
need to
be
make the
rules.
rules
Yeah.
correct.
Let's put that in, I think, an exceptional, give an exceptional
I
case.
think that's already in there.
Yeah.
Who is it? So we already do have an exception.
I
Well,
believe we do,
okay.
yes.
We'll
Yes, 'cause
review
Lori
it
and I
next
But we
talked
have to
about
review
that.
it, we want to be
Okay.
fair to people.
Right, and Lori and I actually talked about that.
So we're gonna see that next month?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
And then
so,
the other thing I'm going to develop is that short summary of what is acceptable. So, what we'll consider, for, like that whole
Right.
thing where we just have the
Right.
summary. Yeah, so I'll have
Yeah,
that
I've
available.
got that.
Well, then, why don't we vote on those grants next month?
Well, again, I mean, let's get the application
Yeah.
process in place. We haven't publicized it. People have come to us because they know these grants exist. Somebody maybe told them verbally.
Right.
But we haven't given everybody in
Yeah.
the village an opportunity. Not everybody necessarily knows that those grants are available. And you need to make sure, either through the newspaper or a website or something, that everyone has an equal chance to apply.
Couldn't we just post it on the door and just?
Well,
Well, whatever our process says, and it is defined in there, and I think it does say things like the newspaper and, a posting on the village hall door. So that's the thing, is we just need to follow that process, so that everybody knows that those funds are available.
So posting it on the webpage, is that an option?
Sure.
Well, I mean, it will be eventually, when we have a
Okay, that's-
website, but again, Main Street could post you know, I mean, if Main Street is willing, I mean,
Yeah,
Main
yeah,
Street
we-
can post the
I-
availability
Mhm.
of funds, so,
But not until January, correct?
right.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
hopefully, but I am, just to let y'all know, I'm meeting with Teresa, the website design girl, at 11.
Good,
So I'll see what she's gotten, where we're coming.
good.
Hopefully
Is
it's,
it good?
it's looking very nice, but, you know, anyway.
Yeah.
It's
We
looking
know
good.
this, yeah, because it's
Is it professional?
Yes.
She's writing us all, writing the code, if you can imagine, not just click and paste. No, this woman is like a computer genius-y kind of. I'm not though, so maybe it's,
Okay, but
it's looking very, the site's looking really, really good.
And it's really, really reasonable. You know what she's charging us a month?
I know it's cheap.
Yeah, $50. She's charging us $25 a month, $50 to make this website. It's like a
Okay,
giveaway.
that's all
It
very
is.
well and good, as long as it doesn't move.
Yeah, we need to
Well,
make
then
sure.
we get another one, you know, but for now on, it's a big deal, you know? Liz can move, she could be up in Alaska next year, we don't know.
You never know.
Never know.
That's right.
All right, so there's been no activity for the Agnes block.
Okay, but that is one thing that I want to point out that the DDA has done for that
Yes.
south, north end, you know,
Right,
saving that
stabilization
building
of
from
that
falling
building.
down.
Yes,
Now,
yes.
the roof on
Yeah,
there
it's
does
quite a
look
bit.
really nice.
What happens if it falls down this winter?
It's stabilized,
It's stable.
Agnes is
It's
stabilized,
stable.
yeah.
It's
that-
stable.
that- Yeah, new roof on.
You're
it.
probably thinking of the aqua block,
Right.
which is, we don't know.
Do we,
No.
is that Agnes block insured still? Is the Agnes block still insured? Is it
Yeah.
last years ago?
I mean, I can verify, but I believe
Because I
it's
think
true.
Rob may have removed it one time.
I don't think so, but I mean, I'll check, I don't know the answer. I would assume it's still insured. So.
Well, we had that insurance guy here, he talked about.
Right, he had our properties on there,
Yeah,
he did have our
properties.
properties on there,
Yeah.
so, yeah, and now that you say that,
Yeah,
yeah, pretty sure, but
we
again,
talked
I'll
about
go
that.
back and verify it to the, yeah, because they did ask us to define all village-owned properties, whether DDA or directly owned by the village.
Did we get back to him to say?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
I think one of the biggest problems in our village continues to be the privately owned buildings that are falling down.
Oh, yeah.
That is the biggest problem is, and then that's something that the village council should be working on. I don't think the DDA can,
Right.
the DDA does not set
It's not our
minimum
purview.
maintenance standards. That is something that the village should be.
Right. And again, you know, the council approved an application to MEDC for almost $250,000 to stabilize the
Yeah.
J.C. Penney's building and the Al Novo building. But that just gives you some idea of how much it costs to stabilize these buildings. And I mean, for the village, that's an enormous sum of money. So, and I believe we should be hearing back on that
But
shortly.
it should also be followed up by civil infractions, daily penalties.
Okay, here's what we're working on, Lori, and this was like the reason I ran for election is this ordinance thing, okay, the blight ordinance, you know, follow through with the ordinances, okay? Because we got a lot of ordinances that make no sense, some of them are. Here's our problem, a lot of them are not civil infractions, they're criminal things, okay? Okay, well, wait a second. What you need to do is, in order to do that, we have to have a contractual attorney, okay? We have to have somebody on board that's gonna help us out, because Mr. Tertia is a pro bono attorney, and he's not gonna handle ordinances, period. Till this many months ago, we have to do this. We have not done this yet.
Why not?
So,
Okay, well, good question, okay? I ask at every meeting to do this. We need to hire somebody that's like, you know, available to us. And then we need to get policy and procedure in place, which I'm pushing for, to say, okay, how do we do this? How do we make this work? I even invited Jeff Jepson from the city of Houghton, who is the ordinance slash, what does he do?
He's the enforcement.
Yeah, he's a
officer.
code enforcement, okay? And he was gonna come and the last minute he couldn't, okay? There's paperwork you can do, it's real simple stuff, but the only thing is, we can't make that giant leap from, okay, here's the paper in the ordinance, and who's gonna enforce it, and what attorney are we gonna have? We have to do this, and we haven't been able to make that leap.
Why not?
Come to the village meeting and ask, okay? Because I don't know
so
the
you're
answer to that.
having trouble with your other council members making
Yeah, you can
decisions?
send
So-
over.
No, it's not like that. It's like somebody, okay, well, my feeling on it. When we made that motion like months and months ago, because Mr. Tertia came and said, I'm willing to do a lot of things for this village.
Right,
Guy.
yeah.
Okay, so you have to hire somebody. This was probably back in May or June, a long time ago, okay?
I was there.
Okay, you were there, okay? I believe that the person we pay in this office should be on the phone looking for attorneys and then coming back, whatever, but somehow that has not happened, okay? So
Can council members do that?
Dave said he was gonna do it, okay? Dave is not a paid guy. Dave is a council member like everybody else, okay? So month after month after month, you know, I've asked, is there anything, you know, going on here? And they're working on it, okay? I appreciate everything Dave does. Dave does so much work for this village, I can't tell you, but I'm gonna tell you, if we got a guy that we pay a lot of money over there and we have motions to do something, my opinion is he needs to make an effort to follow up with stuff, okay? And that has not happened. So this is where we're at. And how do you address it? How do you do that every single month? Any suggestions?
So another thing is perhaps.
I would get on the phone yourself and start.
Yes.
Okay, But he's in something, you know?
We're way out.
Have you been to a village council meeting?
Yes, she.
Yeah, they're
No,
really,
but I mean,
they're,
they last so long now, it's a joke, I've never seen it, it's a joke. People are laughing about it, it's kind of embarrassment to Calumet.
how do you fix that?
I don't know.
We're way
I don't
off.
know. I'm just saying.
Well, they asked a question, I answered, I told them.
But I'm just saying, all they do is fight there, just.
This
It's
is nothing
horrible.
new, the last council was the same way, they got nothing, zero accomplished.
Okay,
All
okay.
right, we're on-
Yeah, we're not talking, yeah.
Yeah, it's blocked, but
Okay, so I will check that it is insured. 512 Portland, you've obviously seen that they have, finished the roof work, and I think they're doing a little bit of foundation work yet. I can follow up and find out exactly what they're doing there, so. Portland, 512 Portland, yeah, Portland.
Because they were gonna get rid of that one part of the basement.
Yeah, that was part of it, yeah, so, and I'm assuming it's because it's been so wet, so.
Has anyone talked to the people who were kind of interested in that building before?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. We pulled it off the market.
Right.
And we'll relist it after, the work is complete.
because I don't think we should have, we should offer it to the public then.
Mhm.
It should
Do
not-
we have, I don't want us to get totally bogged down in this right now, but we are gonna have to think about what we're gonna ask for
Right.
that building.
Mhm. That's why we took it out of the market, because it was for sale for $5,000.
Yeah.
And I'm missing one more thing. Pete, I think, knows what is the interior condition of that building.
It's bad. This is, I think, the fourth time I've cleaned that building.
And that's, I think, above and beyond the call of duty
Right.
for an unpaid
Yeah.
volunteer.
Yeah,
You know,
Pete and Tom Dumble include pigeons
Yeah.
and pigeon shit over there. And,
Yeah. 2 bagfuls. The last bag was so full I couldn't lift it one arm into the dumpster.
Is the building sealed? I mean,
It's sealed, but Dave, it doesn't take much for another pane of glass to blow out. Leah was right on the money with the fact that all of us, when we drive by that building, need to look. There's something wrong, it needs to
We
be
need
fixed.
this-
ASAP.
That's something I think, we had this conversation, Pete and Tom and I. We need to, the DDA, we probably should set aside a little budget, if it's $500 or $250. And maybe, I don't know if Pete and Tom would be willing or not, but if one of us drives by and sees windows blown out, we need to be able to call them and say, hey, can you go fix that? And they can go to Ace Hardware or 41 Lumber, buy a sheet of plywood and get it taken care of before we end up with another pigeon extravaganza in there. Because it happens so fast.
Yes.
Oh,
And
yeah.
if we make the rule, okay, we have $250 that you can spend if you need to, or $100, whatever it is, but some little pool of money that they can, where we don't have to meet first and wait another month, because those pigeons are.
But then on the other hand, Leah, does it have to be an approved piece of plywood on there? Is the HGC going to yell?
temporary.
I'm just saying, there's crazy people out here, and they yell at you. Do you see what I'm saying?
The contractor that's there now, all the glass windows have them.
Big bucks for him to do that.
Well, I tell you what, it's really hard to show a building when you board it up every
Yeah, it's
window.
single window.
It looks like crap in there
Yes.
because there are just places that you can't see a thing. And you need the best flashlight, and you have no perspective as to the building when the windows are completely
That's
blacked
true.
out.
I see both sides of it.
Okay, because there's beautiful
There's no
hardwood
power
floors in
in
there. There are good things to that building, but there was so much shit in there, it was ridiculous.
So two questions. Does there need to be additional cleanup in there?
Oh, I think it should.
You know, in which case,
Of
should
what
it,
kind?
should,
Like mop or sweep or?
You know, I mean, any of the above would be good, mopping and sweeping, because it just finally got to the point, you know, I think I've got, you know, probably 45 hours in that building just cleaning.
Can I ask you a question? If it's in that bad a shape in the interior, is there any like, has it been checked for like asbestos or that kind of stuff? So if you're in there,
You know,
you're not
you
breathing all that
could go in the
stuff.
basement and look, but there's no asbestos in the upper 2 floors.
Okay, so they had that checked, because you need to have somebody in there.
We didn't get it checked.
Oh, you didn't get it checked?
It's,
You know how much it costs to get it checked?
Well, I understand, but they're putting in
Pretty
so
sure
much
it
Well,
money.
listen, if you want to go down there with me and a flashlight, we can look in the basement.
Well, I just,
But
Yeah.
it's simple enough to identify it.
mm,
It's very simple. to
is it true
identify.
that the upper floors are pretty well gutted?
Yeah.
I mean, there's not tile, you know, the typical
well, they
things
took
that
the
asbestos.
tin and they sold it to other places.
Right, but I mean, as far as asbestos containing things like wrap on pipe, a lot of times it's tiling
Possibly.
in the floor and ceiling
Mhm.
tiles. And I don't know if any of those things even exist in the upper 2 floors anymore.
It's
I
almost
haven't been there.
almost all hardwood floors.
Mhm.
I mean, and the walls are
Plaster.
they're plastic.
Well, you know what I run into, and it's just an observation, because I think it's a good idea to try to save buildings and stuff, but I run into so many people that say, what the hell are you people doing, putting all that money into that crappy old building?
Well,
Like the people on the street that are just looking from the outside.
I know that.
Yeah, and you probably get that too, and it's like, well,
Well,
you
I can
know,
show them a default.
and I know what you're gonna say, I understand, but
We can
people
have both of
look
them.
at it and say, you know.
Yeah.
You know, that building there was one of those that people said should come down, the Fifth and Elm.
Mhm.
The DA put some money into that, somebody bought it.
I know the history of that
You know,
building.
there's several
I
buildings
know
that
people
have
say
this
that
same.
we cannot, I don't think in this community what we have is our architecture is beautiful. And if we let all those go, and I understand what you're saying, when somebody says that to
People are
us,
saying to me,
I.
Oh, yeah, they're always gonna
that.
talk. They're
yeah,
always
and the
gonna be
green
negative.
roof, why is it green? Green is horrible.
Oh.
And I'm like, I didn't like the color, people are trying to make things better.
You know what?
I hear that all the time.
Don't be answering stupid questions.
Well,
well, no.
I got used to it.
You don't-
Oh, I have thick skin.
Yeah.
I mean, but we're all supposed to be ambassadors.
Right.
For the,
And
I understand that.
Yeah.
And when people say that, it's like, we are a historical park.
But
If
then-
there's no history.
Right, but then they go from that building and like, why the heck aren't you like cleaning up the bowling alley? Why aren't you doing it? And it just like, and it's like, my head just goes,
See,
God.
and you know what people, what that tells me is people in our community really want to know what's going on with all these different things. And they're not, no, they don't know. There's no outlet for them to find out. So
Good
it's,
point.
Urge, what's going on with this?
No, it's
Instead of-
complaining, it's not what's going on, it's complaining.
Yeah, right.
Well, you know,
If they knew.
Okay, and to bring it back to where we are.
But this is part of where we are.
But no, I mean, we've already talked about, we know we need a website. Yeah, we know we need a
And that's what
website.
it
I mean, it's, and some of these issues will go away when there is a website. Because we can say that this project, 90% of it is being funded by the state.
And in our council meetings, we could do the same thing. We could
Well,
have
some
an
people aren't.
Well, we still could have an update on what's going on in the village, like other jurisdictions do.
And we will
And we
have
don't
that.
have
Right,
that.
And we will have that.
Yeah.
So my question is, do we want to authorize spending, say, up to $1,000 for cleaning and repair of windows on, the Buttrell Portland?
Well, I'm gonna give you, I lived down by the depot, and I remember one year the building inspector had to come in because there was literally feet of pigeon crap in there, I mean, it was awful. In the depot. The depot used to be beyond
Right,
horrible,
right,
okay? And I remember they were ordered to clean it up, and they cleaned it up. Well, Then fall came and the pigeons were looking for somewhere. By spring, it was just as bad again.
Yeah.
You
That's what
know,
we-
I mean, they're so prolific.
And that's why we need funds, so
Yeah.
that if
Yeah,
somebody
we're
has
sorry.
a broken window, we don't
And
have to
Dave,
wait.
my only thought is that whatever money is allocated for emergency repairs, it shouldn't be just 512 Portland, we should.
Whatever we own.
Right,
Keep,
right.
yeah. keep
So,
it.
so then would there be a motion to spend, authorize the DDA to spend up to $1,000 for emergency repairs to
Sure.
DDA on buildings?
There's snow and rain coming in.
Okay, so let me edit the motion and, okay, yeah. No, it's up to 1,000 for emergency repairs.
And we could use that money to either have one of our members who's a volunteer do that work, or what about if we need to hire a contractor to do that work?
Hey, either way.
Okay.
Yeah, in the middle of winter, you may need a
Right.
contractor to
Right,
cut the plywood, put some stain on it.
Right.
Yeah, especially if it's in a bad spot, you know.
right,
All right,
okay.
so we have a motion to spend up to $1,000 for emergency repairs to DDA-owned properties. Is there further discussion?
So you want us as a committee here, every time we go by the building, take it?
Yes.
Because I walk
Yes,
on.
we
Go to
should.
Yeah,
the
just
committee,
keep an eye.
Just keep it, you
Yeah,
know.
and to any of the DDA.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
because that's what we need to be doing.
Yeah. All right, in the council, we always do voice votes for spending money that we don't have in the budget, so.
That we don't have.
I'm gonna do a voice vote. Well, it's not specific.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so Birch,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Pete,
Yes.
Leah,
Yeah.
Lori,
Yes.
and myself. All right. All right, so this is voice vote.
And if we have any people that seem to complain a lot and have extra time, they can always
I agree.
come with me and help do some of these projects
Yeah.
because I think there's nothing like sweat equity versus
Yeah,
I have all the problems, listen to me.
yeah.
Well, I think it boils down to they see money being spent, and I hate to say this, but a lot of people are self-serving, and there's why isn't something coming my way? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
If I had to be honest. here.
Well, I think the great equalizer is shoveling pigeon ground.
Yeah,
Oh.
And that, but I mean, there's so
That's
many
so
times,
unhealthy.
it's just stuff like that. Yeah, I think I took 9 dead ones out. I don't know how many babies they had born in there. You know, eggshells everywhere.
Is the
Oh,
biggest
yeah,
rooster
yeah.
of pigeons, and they, I
Oh,
don't know why
yeah.
I
that.
don't know why
Windows
we
go
don't
nuts.
say do something with him, because to me it's a danger, and I'm bringing that up at the next
Birch,
meeting.
maybe you use
Well, I've been trying, but no, we can't enforce
He is,
that.
I think.
5 minutes left.
All right, all right.
I didn't know we're on time.
He got barely on the walk here.
All right,
5
all I can tell you about the Evergreen is that the owners of those that are still looking. I mean, they haven't settled on a big thing.
Right.
So that's the only thing I can tell you about
We do have
that.
structural, I think that structural
There's
assessment.
special assessments in draft form, yeah. Yeah.
That's something this group should know, that the bring back county of Passport, we got money, we had structural assessments done. So there is a structural assessment for 512 Portland, Evergreen, and Alamo, is Agnes covered? I don't think Alamo, no, does it? I don't think
No.
so. Anyway, definitely 512 Portland and the Evergreen, which is a analysis by an engineer. They've gone through and said, this needs, you're gonna have to address this wall here, you know, anything that is gonna have to be done to make that building structurally stable, safe. So, and with photos, and then there's also estimates about costs for repairs and floor plan layouts, which is very nice to have to give someone if they're actually interested in buying a building. You're selling it to somebody who really knows what they're getting. They don't have to spend $2,000 to get that. To have that done, because if somebody's really serious about buying any of these buildings, they need to have that done. Because if they don't, unless they're an engineer, they don't know what they're doing, and you should probably sell them a building.
Can I ask a quick question? When we stabilize a building and put a lot of money into a building as a DDA or the village, and then you sell it with conditions, and I'll give you an example of the Wayne Weber building, is there any recourse? Because that guy hasn't done anything.
I do see him working in
Yeah,
there.
He's supposed to
I
have-
see him, he's there at night, he's there at night quite a bit, I
Have
see.
you been inside them? Because
No, but I see him, I don't wanna bother him, but he is.
And next time I'll stop because I just saw him the
Yeah,
other
because
day.
you can't see any progress.
No, but you
whatsoever.
can't see him stealing.
from this.
But yeah,
Right.
yeah, as far as I know,
But my question is, what, like, he got pretty good deal on that building, what were the requirements of, did you have to be done within a year, within 6 months? Like, what's the requirements of
Tricia said
that?
we weren't, we tried to put this, but Jim said we weren't allowed.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So kind of, if you sell the building, your hands are gonna be on.
Right,
your hands are,
you
yeah,
have
that
to
was my
be-
question.
Yeah.
Because it's a shame that they get these buildings cheap and then they don't follow
He's doing
through.
something with it. He got the safe redone, you know, that, I talked to him.
I'd like to go in there, if you're gonna go in there, call me, I'd like to see what he's done in there.
That actually would be a really,
would be encouraging, because
it would be
you
nice
could
if
give the
we could
word.
get some, right, if we could get some maybe photos or whatever. Say, oh, look, we're doing, this building was gonna be totally demolished in the DDA, they would save it and turn it over to someone, and now look. That would be a.
But it still looks like an abandoned building you go by.
Right.
It's not as bad as it is.
Right.
Many of the privately owned buildings.
I understand, but it's.
Okay, village won't address, so.
Okay, so the last thing on the agenda are bills.
Okay, I just got a question. What is transfer to debt service? What is
That
that?
is the, right, that's the grader and the loader.
Okay,
And I think this is the last month, I think, then the village starts paying it for the rest of the year.
Okay, for the rest of the year, let's see, it's what, October? Do they pay for 2 months then? And then
Yeah, we
they-
basically, TDA is basically 75%, yeah, so it's like, yeah.
And then how does the DDA know that it's getting 75% is being spent here? I mean, I just wonder, how do they figure that? Is this what DDAs pay for too? I don't know. You know, is that what villages
Yeah,
do?
I mean, and again, we have training, I mean,
Yeah.
we'll see if Scott Guinness is able to do this for us.
And the other thing that I really think we have to revisit is the meter reimbursement, because I'm not sure that that is something that we should be doing. Maybe if we can earmark that towards something like enforcement of, you know,
Right.
ordinances, I would feel more comfortable about it, but just for it going to who knows what, I don't feel real comfortable about that. You know, human absence, that should, we should look at that again. And what is Division 1 design?
That is the building assessment.
For,
That was a total of 10,000, 5,000 for Kita, 2,500 from us, 2,500 from the village.
And the village has already done their share, now this is the second part, because last month it was 1,500. So now the DDA has completed their 2,500
Yeah, payments.
payments to that. So that's,
So that's-
because I asked that at the village council, what is that?
what does the meter reimbursement look like? I would like
It
to,
goes to the general fund.
which is
So
what?
it pays everything, street fund, fire fund, police fund.
Okay, but is that only in the
District
DDA
fund.
district, or is it all over the village?
You know, it's, I can't break the general fund down.
So that's why I think
that's-
perhaps we need
but-
to.
But I can assure you, we spend a lot more in snow removal within the DDA district than we do in the residential
But
district.
I do understand.
I have a
But-
deployment element.
All right,
Actually-
the thing is, though, the DDA's money is to be spent in the DDA district.
Right.
So I think we need to,
Just to let you know, Lord, our street superintendent, because he's doing an assessment of how much it costs to remove snow and things are going to be different this year, and he spends a lot of time downtown, because the lights are a problem, you gotta go around those lights, he spends more time there than anywhere else, so that, you know, the village is spending a large proportion of their money.
But she just wants to be assured.
I just want to be, but that money has to be spent in the DDA district. That is the
Well,
law.
we should, as
That's
a DDA,
state
we should be, this group should be making sure that we are, as we talked about, following the rules that we have, and that is one of our rules, so we should,
Well, you
I don't
know,
know if there's a way that we can,
you know how we can do it, Leah? We can ask our street guy to figure out how much it costs to keep the DDA district open, and then instead of
Easy,
doing the
exactly.
meter fund, we can give the DDA a bill at the end of the year and say, here's your bill for over and above, and you guys pay it. And then you know it's spent for that. We could do that. Would that please you? I mean, would that please you, Lloyd?
it's not, the point is that we make sure, I mean, you're real big on following rules.
Oh, I'm big on following rules.
Isn't
So-
the village
So all we need to do, not that,
Isn't the village also supposed to take care of the district also? Or
Oh,
not?
absolutely.
Well,
But they go above and beyond on that main street than they do everywhere else. They really spend a lot of time.
Well, they-
You can talk to Steve and he will tell you that they spend a tremendous amount of time.
But
Can we just say that that money goes to snow removal?
I think I would like to.
I understand that the money is not being,
No, we're talking
it's being, it's
little hundreds, you know, and then,
Well, 72.
it's just a matter of
Well,
that we correctly, that we follow the rules, that we know that that money goes where.
I'd like to see it go to enforcement of ordinances.
I would too.
And that may be where it goes. I mean,
At
let's-
$7,200
I mean,
a
for
year.
one thing, the
I
village was
understand, I
affordable parking
understand.
meters back in, because none of them work.
Yeah.
take them out,
Well, then,
sell them. You know, some college student was
Just
like,
remember
well,
that brings in $4,000 a year.
I'm just saying, does it cost more than $4,000 to plow around him and whatever? I mean, I don't know, I'm just,
Most
They're up
places.
to the, they're up closer to the building, I don't think
Right,
they're
they're not, that's not an
Does.
issue for plowing, yeah.
Is there a way, Dave, that we're able to, that monies are earmarked where they go when they come?
I mean, we can, I mean, you know,
I
it's,
guess
I mean,
that
right now
would
we
solve-
put it in the general fund.
Well,
but
I
mean,
just think that $7,000 a year that the DA doesn't know where it's going is, you know,
I think we know that it's going to take
Well,
care of the
yeah.
downtown district. I feel confident in that.
Yeah.
But I do think, you know, if that's an issue that ever came up, we could say if it was earmarked, this is exactly where it goes. You can follow that money.
Right, that we can.
I'm not worried that it doesn't actually
it's
go to the
going
downtown
there. You
district.
gotta remember the downtown district, they not only plow, but they pick up the snow. I live in the village and pay taxes, they don't pick up my snow.
Right.
You know, they do pick it up, and
I
that's a
totally
huge,
understand.
huge expense. It's
I
way
know.
beyond $7,200 on
Of course it
kerosene.
is.
Right,
That, I think that is not really in question, but we should,
yeah, we can make it more specific.
thank
you
you.
can see, we already pay for the 75% of the grader and the loader, and then whenever they need more money
You know,
for
this is
snow, the
very-
DDA ends up picking that up.
Do we value our downtown and
Yes,
this
we
is a, this is.
Well, what other
And our village, the problem is, I think in general, our village has the money. If the
Mhm.
village had all this, had totally lots and lots of money,
Mhm.
this would not be a non-issue.
Mhm.
But we are, the DDA, I think, is getting used a little bit more for not necessarily what it's, was intended to be used for because our village is so tight on money.
So let me ask you this, like say in the city of Houghton, which has a DDA, does their DDA have to pitch in
I
for?
do not know.
See, I don't know the answer to that.
They already
Remember-
use a lot of that motion.
Yeah, I don't
Remember
know.
when, because 41
City
has
Hall.
to throw down.
Oh, that's right, yeah,
Oh,
we have to
they
make
get
a
refunds
decision.
from MDOT,
City
and I
Hall
verified.
has money, like,
Right, well,
We
that's
can't even
part of it,
compare.
but remember too, they do get reimbursed by MDOT.
Yeah,
When they
they-
haul snow.
right, I mean, that's what I mean, they have way more money coming in.
See, I don't know the
than
answer to
city
what you guys are
council.
saying, like, what is the DDA money for,
What
what's
the
supposed to be
DDA
used for?
That's what we need to get
That's
some
what
training.
it's trained.
Like,
We need some
okay,
training.
is it for to keep the town nice, is it for mini
That's
grants, is
what
it
I-
for,
that's
like,
what I
I
think
don't
it was
know,
suggested.
and I
It's
don't, I'm
to-
wondering.
It's to develop
The
your
downtown.
businesses.
Okay.
The downtown
Right, right.
district.
Which of course can say, okay, well, we need snow removal. I mean, it's not that we're, you know, it's not necessarily wrong that we're doing that, but I don't think the intention was, oh, to pay for snow removal.
It's not just snow removal, they're there fixing lamps that are broken, they're
Well,
there
of
fixing
course.
sidewalks, they're fixing potholes in the street in the
I mean, I
district.
know
It
our-
isn't just snow,
I,
it's general maintenance
but
everywhere.
are they supposed to be fixing land before? We used to have bills like, I know they're gone,
Well, yeah, our street department is doing it now.
Mhm.
And you just like, well, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
Yeah, they usually wait till there's like about a half a dozen.
it's a
we
big
should
project.
probably, we better,
Okay, so vote on bills, okay, and again, we'll do a voice vote. So, Verge,
Yes.
Mike, Rick,
yes.
Tia,
yes.
Lori,
Yes,
and I'm a yes.
and we need to address these, the meters like that, or soon.
Well, we can figure out how much it costs to maintain the downtown district, and we can figure out a fair and equitable thing.
All right.
Well,
I
I
know
don't
they're
know.
supposed to help maintain.
Well, I'm sure they do, I'm sure
I
it's
don't
tens
think,
of
I
thousands
don't
of
think
dollars.
a DDA was ever intended to be there just so that the village or any have to be, it doesn't, I don't think that the money is not to just maintain the downtown district, the money is to help grow your downtown district.
Because doesn't the county want to dissolve DDAs, right? Isn't that?
State.
Because I
State,
Because I know Forsberg.
Because they have to
go.
Because there's.
Right, because they want the money,
Because
that's
they
the
want
bottom
the
line,
money,
yes.
yeah.
Because,
They're
because
trying to
townships
rob.
and counties lose money, tax monies because of DDAs, so
Yeah.
they would
So
like
they
to solve
keep
it.
it.
So, you know, the bottom line to me is, you know, we shouldn't be arguing about money, we should be talking about like how we can use our very limited funds just to make the whole thing work.
Yeah.
Period. And that's kind of what we're
trying
doing.
to do.
Yeah, it's kind of, that's kind of the way it's working
The
right
thing is,
now.
if you can give a little bit of money to somebody who's actually gonna do something in town, I think that helps. I mean, they're, you know, instead of penalizing people who are trying to do something in the downtown, we should be penalizing the people who are letting their buildings fall down.
I'm gonna tell you something though, if we were to say
A reacher.
No, we have not.
demolition, you know, like demolition by neglect, if we were to enforce that rule, I will guarantee you that there would be people from the historic and this and that would be complaining, it would become this big circle on a maze, okay? I'm just telling you because that's the way it works, okay? Well, then guess what? We're gonna start taking maybe the most egregious 3 things in the village, and we're gonna take care of them, so,
Tear them down, you mean?
well, not, whatever,
Wow,
make them
okay.
safe, because our only thing is to make them safe, like the back of the
That is,
building is not safe.
that's what the Bring Back Calumet Task Force is doing.
Okay, but
That's
we need
what-
to have an attorney so we can follow.
That's
through.
what
And
we're
that's-
paying for. That, you know.
We are not part of that.
Part of that grant, you know, the grant application through
Mhm.
Misha, in that grant application is money to hire an attorney if that, because there's a process with the HDC, which, whatever, but whatever's going on there, I am not aware, but that was part of those, we wrote those grant applications to include funding for a lawyer, because we know darn well it's not gonna be, oh, sure, we'll just fix this because you said so.
Mhm.
We haven't done it for 15 years, but now that you said we should.
And you're giving us money to do it. See, I
We're
don't
gonna have, that's what the purpose of that grant is, to say, here's the money, if you don't fix this, we're gonna fix it, and if you wanna fight about it, we're gonna take you to court, we have money to do that. That's what it is, it's gonna be done, if we get the
Well-
money, if we get the grant.
and I
If
agree
that
with
doesn't
this.
happen.
But you got people like the Penny's building where, you know, he needs to have some skin in the game too. Like, I'm a big proponent of helping, but we can't just enable people to be
So-
neglectful. So we have to
With
do
these-
something.
With these grants and with the HDC, the demolition by neglect ordinance, if we use that money to fix his building, he has a tax lien on all of his properties in the state.
It's
Now,
it's a lien on his property,
Yeah.
it's not,
But he's-
it's not.
Yeah,
a
Yeah,
tax
it's a
lien, it's
right,
It's just a
it's
lien.
a lien on the property,
So
so
he
in this
tries
case,
to-
but on all
On
properties.
everything, right,
So
so
in
if
this
he
case,
tries
there's
to-
9 properties.
I'm gonna tell you what he does, Leah. He's one of the many that will pay us, when he's in arrears, back
I
3 years,
am
he
well
pays
aware.
1 year.
That's
and
all he does every
That's
year,
all he
I
does
know.
every year,
I
okay?
know.
So you're never gonna get ahead of the game with his game because the law allows it.
But if he tries to sell any of his properties in the state,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a
But
motion
that's-
to adjourn?
then
Okay, is there a second?
Mm-hmm.
Your second, Rich?
I think he did.
I'll second.
Oh, okay. All right, all in favor? Any opposed?
Mhm.
So you'll be chairing next month then?
I guess so, so I'm hoping that you'll teach me how to do that right now.
Okay.
You guys will have to excuse some,
You'll do
errors, you guys will have to correct me a little bit.
We're not, you'll do this fine.
And did you take any, well, you took minutes, but.
Yeah, he'll put it in.
Yeah, we do have a secretary.
Mm-hmm. You're the secretary and treasurer. Your treasurer, your secretary, your treasurer. Okay?
So our secretary takes minutes, so.
Well, the
Yeah, and it usually
administrative-
takes, the
Oh.
secretary has to approve.
Could we save money and just have our secretary take minutes?
There's more to it than that.
Right, there is.
Joe does
There's
lots of
administrative
work.
duties with
There is
that.
maintaining
Right.
books.
I guess
We
I-
are volunteer for it, it just doesn't work that way, Virgil. Unless you want to do it, try it.
Right.
No,
We're
I
adjourned.
do not want to do it. I'm just asking a question